So I'm just going to read this really quickly. Or not quickly, but I'm going to read one poem. And it's called Taps. I understand that if I break a mirror, there are consequences to pay. If I smash a wall of mirrors with the back of my hand, I might initiate a string of bad luck. But you, my divide and conquer soldier, cannot be explained or purged by any cause and effect theory. I have been frightened by your smile, by your teeth. There are too many teeth. It's impolite. It's obscene. In another life, I was a woman who followed soldiers from camp to camp, not a wife and not a whore, filthy and enchanted by the romantic notion of war. I have held you colonel, general, private, against the idea of your own demise. Now all men are in uniform for me, my desire to be chaste in the wake of a long absence and the potential of death, a perverse manifestation of an obscure femininity. 7 years bad luck for every mirror shattered, and who knows the price for wine glasses or illusions. And still, you believe another person's misfortune is contagious, that my squalor might somehow rub off on you. I have licked your brass buttons and your purple heart, whispering valor and sacrifice, contributing to the war effort, supporting the war. I break down, I break windows in your name. A bugle playing taps at the close of the day. Thank you.
Give it up for Allison. I've been playing with Dadaist poetry lately. I've grown obsessed. And the organists, my carries out, but keyboard, heart, then which lips, instrument hands, and the lips. But an air current inflates instrument upon a valve heart. By the way, in case you didn't get the memo, it is now shut the fuck up time. And I'd like to welcome Dan Hales to take my place.
What better introduction could you ask for? And I'm supposed to say that Richard Horton is on deck. So get on deck, Richard. So I'm going to read one from Elizabeth's magazine, Meat for Tea. This is from the Bone issue. I know everybody in here is fans of the Bone issue, so I don't need to say anything more about that. How to hover above yourself. If you give the monkey a pet kitten, well, there are few things cuter than a monkey caring for its kitten. If you give the monkey makeup in fashion magazines, that is messed up. To give the monkey wings or the desire for wings is to infuse it with your own longings for transcendence. To do things done before is derivative, unless maybe so much better than ever been done before. The winged monkeys in Oz scared the shit out of me, seemed the most evil things ever. A winged monkey would do unspeakables if given a kitten. You wouldn't even have to show it on screen. Just a close-up of its sly primate face hovering over the sleeping kitten. Thanks. I've got a chapbook coming out on Wednesday, and I'm going to read a few very short poems that are in broadside form on these index cards. That's going to be part of the eventual print version of the book. And this one is called, well, the book itself, I'll read that, is called Blind Drive, and it has this little card that goes with it. Blind Drive. In church, I'd change the words of hymns. I'd sing my dog's name, Jobo, instead of Jesus. I like to imagine Jesus would understand that it wouldn't make him weep. On field trips, I like to imagine Jesus was up front driving, and at the same time sitting in the back of the bus with Matt, Mark, James, and me, belching, cracking up, singing 99 bottles of beer with us. Remember to tip your waiter tonight. Thanks. Warning, may contain small parts. This one has the image on one side, the poem on the other. Warning may contain small parts, may come apart in your hands as you try to unscrew it, may cause uncontrollable giddy laughter, the kind makes you scared you will die, may contain a bridge into pre-chorus that chews on your brains for weeks, truly owns you the way only lock-picked, riffed-out hooks can. Please, this one song may be the last stitch, still holding the hot, sticky mess of me together. Thickly Settled. Does anybody know the song Tighten Up by Archie Bell and the Drells? It's a really great funk song from the funk early days. This references that song. Thickly Settled. When Archie Bell says, "We don't only sing, but we dance just as good as we want," in the intro of Tighten Up, he's speaking from a point in a beatific future we have yet to arrive at. Disco guitar men, Moogs, Drells, and psychedelic soul brothers have quested there and returned to sing a place it would take a whole lifetime to reach if sexy science gave us each 200 or 300 years more to tighten up our dance. One last little quickie here. And Richard Horton, you know you're on deck, right? I don't know who you are, but you better, hopefully you know who you are and you're ready. Does anybody, speaking of things, does anybody remember modems that were dial-up modems? Okay, my last poem, very short, 4 quick little lines, late 20th century love song. A dial-up modem has fallen in love, sings his heart's call to prayer, sequence of slowly slowing 2400-bit tones, and waits for the remote to respond. Thanks, abandoned building peoples. Richard Horton.
Okay, 3 poems, 5 minutes. If there are translators in the house, the word translation in this piece does not mean what you do. Illness of the Pioneers. Doctors assigned the name schistic rigor to the condition of a settler, a Missourian perhaps, who experiences the misfortune of hearing a joke. The first symptom is occurrency. The settler eyes the joker, amazed at the pretentiousness of speech itself. He is already doomed. The second symptom is translation, usually manifested as animal torture. The settler, with mouth awry and eyes starting from his head, seizes some heretofore favored pet, sets it afire, and proceeds to the next stage of his illness. Rigor itself, accompanied by gustatory schissus, known to many as laughter. The horrified family drags the returning breadwinner from the wagon, binds him to a kitchen chair, and applies caustic poultices until his symptoms abate. It is expected that he will then try to infect the family by retelling the joke. They begin loudly singing hymns while holding their ears. Hard as it is to believe, joking saloons have recently been established in some towns. Second piece. I knew a girl named Ilsa, and she was just like this. Ilsa says, "All that laughter, it's from the grave." Ilsa says, "When we were walking, you ran and shouted like someone deranged. Why are you so sad?" Ilsa says, "Your knee is moving." Ilsa puts her hand on my knee and stops it. Ilsa says, "You were smiling when you passed the potatoes. Is everything comedy?" I say to Ilsa, "Ilsa, we're good friends, but you are not my wife. You cannot abuse me so." Ilsa says, "My darling, I accept. Sit in the chair while I take down the champagne." When she's out of the room, I escape. When next I visit Ilsa, A man with an enormous mustache is sitting on her couch. Ilsa says, "As you see, I've taken a lover." Ilsa says, "What I said was hard for you to hear. You're easily hurt." I say, "Good God." Ilsa says, "You're blue and your eyes are closed. What's the matter?" I say, "I just noticed I'm dead." Ilsa says, "It was what I said. You must stop doing this." I don't answer since I'm dead. I hear Ilsa rummaging in the medicine cabinet. God help me, she's going to revive me. I say to Ilsa, "Here we are in Mexico. It's our wedding night." Ilsa says, "Now you will learn to laugh. What you did before was scream and bray like a farm animal." In this next piece, I combine glibness, gaieté, and razor-sharp 18th century wording. All nouns are capitalized. The end of the vegetables. The knives of dinner had been working among the vegetables. Abandoning restraint, these fled in unseemly haste. The potato rolling along, the celery shouting stern orders, the carrot nowhere to be seen. Sweetly pleaded the cucumber, and oh, she'd put on paint to please. By knife was her suit answered. The plight of the tomato was wondrously macabre. Its grotesque wanderings took it near and far as its unkindly harmed brain composed verses for its elegy. "At last they are discovered," came a voice amid the whickering metal. The carrot had been directing the search for the other vegs. "Would that I could dispatch him myself," it crowed. The sharpest knife, alerted to its presence, came at it. "But surely, sir," were its last words. Peace at length obtained in the cook's charnel house. Yea, voices were raised in song in the next room. As the chorus rang out, cook bumped through the door with the platter. Loud was the welcoming shout. A sign near the door proclaimed, "No animal has been slain to make your supper." On deck, Ben Hersey.
Hello. It's good to be with you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and it's good to be near you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you're good, 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 and you're nice, and you're rude, but you're kind of nice, and you're mean-spirited, but you're also sort of kind too. You write good emails. You wrote a good tweet earlier. Your spirit is rich and deep and flawed. There's a problem within you that I can't figure out, and neither can we. Guess what? That's your problem. It's your secret. Keep it deep. Keep it untranslatable. Right? Let's get spirited. Let's get spirited. I've got some words that I've culled from a document that I found in my grandmother's mourning book, Mourning. When her father died, she lost her way. Her father died late. When she was 30, her father died. Her father, my great-grandfather, was a vaudeville performer, okay, in Maine. And he worked on the river, the river circuit. And so he wrote, and he was a hypnotist, and he tried. You know, he didn't make big fame, but he tried, like you. You're trying. So this is not me. This comes from other sources. Code, swayed fire and flame, burn the word together, bring it together. That's what we do, right? We're creative. Goes like this. Are we all lumbermen and lumberwomen here? Have we been in these North Woods for 75 and 80 years? We've applied the fresh tobacco char over the wound. and we wrap the sprain in beef brine. We know the difference between merchantable trees and ones with the sacred diameter. We live in the name of the future. Leather shrivels fast in the flowing waters. We know that. Rotten pine wood is better than talcum powder. We know that too. How wonderful our state as deranged woods people, enjoying this accumulation of language, verb, and rhyme, a spirited Occident, enjoying our river-driven bodies, our tests of ingenuity on a daily basis, ultimatums at 10 below against the heat of the rammed-down stove. The camp boss wields dynamite. The outlaw crusty trappers wield dynamite. Your average woodsman wields it. Hell-bent peg-leg McPherson wields it. Hell, you wield it. And those dams get done. Overflowing red 100 years exists in the spring wreckage spring. A frame road, man-made, overgrown. Murmur in the hemlock, intolerable red. Altered to silver. You poor narrow-hearted fellow. He said fellow, but I'm going to say motherfucker. Because this is in 2001. Unlike us, we're everywhere. Dead men are denoted. Arctic children in the sloop of ashes. As the dead prey upon us. They are the dead in ourselves. Does that ring a bell? A petal, as far from grief as a spider's mind. Thrown upon the burial stove, we live a design. We can't mourn another sunken dead word. Right? Can you follow that lead? Not bad. This is lumber music. Death is deep water. Poplars chunking on the remote insect. Things significant marching in the coming heat, kid. Delight, get on to judgment. Unleashed over a log. We, you, me. We make those logs go. Aight? Drawing converges in an old house. This deep water we fall in. A heavenly Father in a pine box. Heaven for the experiment is now pine. When you die, you go to pine heaven. Squirrel whiskey drunk by a star at the edge of the night. Fate. Sometimes I drop the language. You should try that. That's right. Fate is a wandered away year, overwhelmed. You cherish that tree, and God give away a candle for your little flickering hopes. I gave God, hi Elizabeth, I gave God a rubber cord and held on to the soother's door. More than melding, blown together, another felled ear. The chorus rose, a steeple feather, the leg of a mother, the length of a river. Bled till dawn. Damn. Ouch. Ouch. You bled all night and you didn't die. Guess what? That's why you're deep. The steam log holler. So cold at night with the ice blocks, you find yourself craving sweaty horses and hot manure. The goo the steam, the articulated in-between space. This last in-line glutton song, mine, has been seen in no life but this, the summer house. That's what I call my head, my heart. It's my summer house. I go there when I can. I go there when I can. You know what I mean? I gotta work. I gotta make money. You know what I mean? The summer house, which lives miles above this little bad boy right here. My heart's my little bad boy. Your heart's your little bad boy or bad girl, whatever you choose. You deserve good things. You work hard every day. You're struggling, but you've earned something in this life. You may not get it, right? Join me. Wow, we did it. We, as in me, but me as we. So anyway, enough is enough, right? You know what I mean? Next up, on deck, probably one of the Valley's best fiction writers, Sean Casey.
This is called Armenian Trout. As an adult of 30, I learned of Armenia's trout from a man named Albert. I had hired Albert to take me on a tour of the Caucasus. He spoke a language in which gusts of breath were used to cover consonants. They may have been vowels, but I'm not going to call them that. Albert wasn't inscrutable, but he wasn't far from it. He had gray hair, a slight hunch. He made use of minimal emotion and moved with perfect confidence. I did not understand anything he said. In Soviet times, he said, all families were given identical encyclopedias. The most well-thumbed pages of this encyclopedia concerned Armenia's trout. I didn't believe the man. I didn't understand a word he said. Albert drove me across Armenia. I'm not sure how to describe our transport. He called it a car. Minivan might have been an accurate term. I called it an exceptionally large goat, because that's what it was. We traveled to Lake Sevan, stopping alongside the river Hrazdan. The trout here are despondent, Albert said, abject. I have no idea what you're talking about, I said. Albert may have been incomprehensible, but he was right. We started fishing with badly bent hooks. Albert said they were fine. They looked less like the letter J and more like the lowercase L. The trouts were both gorgeous and fed up with life. They gleefully speared themselves on our hooks. Soviet trout, Albert said. I thought you said Armenian trout, I said. Sorry, Albert said. Armenian trout. For an hour, we fished in silence. The trout's reluctance to do anything but bite hooks was striking, mysterious, and boring. The KGB closely monitors this river, Albert said. Still, I asked. We all need activities to fill our days, he said. We cleaned the trout. Albert expertly cleaned his. I made a mess of mine. We threw what we didn't want onto a flat rock. The innards glimmered like wet rubies, but were of value only to a few stray dogs. Done, Albert said. We have more than enough for my wife to cook. Albert drove me to his home in the village of Zapatsak and introduced me to his wife. I was pretty sure it wasn't his house and the woman wasn't his wife. It took 4 years to cook the trout. By the end of the 4 years, I had grown impatient. I'd also grown fluent in whatever tongue Albert spoke. We exchanged gusts of it over coffee and backgammon. One afternoon, as we waited for the trout, Albert reached for the encyclopedia. He opened it to the entry on Armenian trout and passed the book to me. Now you can read this, he said. This is in Russian, I said. You don't know Russian, he asked. Not yet, I said. Albert began reading it out loud. He started off translating it into the language that we shared, but within minutes was reading it in Russian. From what I understood, the trout of Armenia were of magnificent intelligence. They had even developed a language. However, without the anatomy to properly pronounce the language words, the trout grew terminally forlorn. Many were driven to suicide, a zealousness to succumb to fishermen. Albert's wife entered. She dropped a bowl of apricots in front of us. "Trout's ready," she said. "Patience, woman," Albert scolded. "I'm reading the famous entry on Armenian trout." Albert's wife left the room speaking obscenities in another tongue. "Albert," I said, "what language does your wife use to curse?" "Beats me," he said. He gestured to his wife with his thumb and came as close to smiling as he ever did. "I have no idea who she is," he whispered. Thank you. Up next is Laurie DeRosier.
To continue the adjunct professor reunion, I was the poem that I have in Meat for Tea, and at least 3 from my new book are all about dead animals. So I figured it was the dead animal version of Laurie DeRosier's poetry tonight. Hope you enjoy it. I'll start with the one in the book, in the wonderful magazine that Elizabeth McDuffie is nice enough to publish me in. Let's see. This is an oldie. I don't know how good it is, but it's fun. Recipe for frog juice. 1 frog, preferably angry. 3 ladles of white bean broth. 2 generous spoonfuls raw honey. Fresh aloe plant mashed. 4 tablespoons maca root from Peru. Pour bean broth, honey, aloe, and maca into a blender on a Talavera tile counter. Blend on high while counting to 17. Pause. Kill frog by whacking on tiles. Skin quickly with sharp pearl-handled knife. Drop frog in mixture. Blend on low while listening to jazz. Strain through white cheesecloth. Bury remains with minimal ceremony in shade. Drink before bed in steaming beer mug. Cures hysteria, malaise, and sluggishness. Improves sex drive and libido. Caution, do not imbibe more than twice a day. May cause tantrums, stinging, sarcasm, or 4-hour erections. That was the Whack the Frog version of Meat for Tea, WTF. Get it? Okay. So I realized that I have a beer poem in my new book. This is called Sometimes I Hear the Clock Speak. It came out last week. Very exciting, by Salmon Poetry. And so it's also a physics poem. Any physicist in the room? I hope so, I hope so. Anybody study physics? Yay, I got a little hand. Okay, good. It helps to know a little bit about physics. You don't have to know much. I don't know much. The bar where the physicists drink is a simple old place that serves Guinness. They sip in sync with the universe, calculate the time it takes for heads to dissolve into golden lager, observe the centrifugal force of bar stool turns, the trigonometry of dart throws, comment on the waitress, whether she exists in time and space while she is on break, the centripetal force of her inert body leaning against the outside wall, inhaling molecules of smoke, debating if her curvature is equal to her curves. They don't order martinis, but if they did, they might contemplate Pascal's second law of hydrostatics, how an olive affects a change of pressure in a homogeneous, incompressible fluid. They drink their beers, join the flow of charge as the current of money quickly ebbs. When the conjugate quantity of beer consumed is equivalent to the linear movement of time wasted, they declare this system closed and depart, leaving a sense of relative uncertainty at every table. So this one's called Library at the End of the Universe. So basically, I'm killing off everybody. By the time she got into the library, her backpack was soaked from the pouring rain. Her gloves made her hands feel like icicles. Her toes were curled over to warm themselves. By the time she had opened her science text, the formulas danced in their paragraphs. The light played a game with her spectacles. Her brain was a panel on overload. By the light of her digital timepiece, she knew she was tardy for chemistry. The chemicals bled from her tear ducts. An audible sigh made some heads turn. By the scroll of the big screen bulletin proclaiming the end of the universe, the students had melted like icicles. Their cell phones blinked blue in the darkness. One more. Wave. This is a rogue wave. This is a violent song. Big fish eat little fish. You can drown here, and I could let you. So easy to lose you to the shark below, to the killer whale. You are my angel. I am your damselfish. We churn with the foam, splash our fins, spit out surf and gray salt. Your waves meet mine, and tsunamis happen. This is not a shipwreck. This is a powerful slap. A riptide surge filled with bait and flotsam, a wall of water pounding sand. Yeah. Thank you. Next up, we have the lovely and brilliant Samantha Wood.
Hi. So I saw a really wonderful sign today on the road to Southampton. I took a drive. I was driving through Southampton, and I saw this sign out of the corner of my eye, and it said, whoremongers and adulterers. And I thought, U-turn. Finally, I'm the target audience. Because we're poets, right? We're thieves, and we're praying to be seduced. So greetings, whoremongers and adulterers. This is a public service announcement. It is worth noting that the current political climate is what it is, and I work in the news, so I'm here to tell you that the censors are coming. So I've written a short poem to the censors. I know you are coming. Please have your black felt-tipped pens uncapped and ready. Redact me all over. Still wet with the stink of my own mother's cunt, I am not yet ready to give up. I'm the lobster boiled in the pot. I'm the last lobster ambling along the ocean floor. I kneel on the town dock and tip her into the little harbor. This is the lucky part. The sparkling nebula of my mother's ashes floating slow down into the salt. Mom, you get to go home. A little out to sea. A little at last near your first daughter, dead too soon. Salt, rising and falling, daring you to ride out in it. Find a rock to stand on. The tide is rolling in. Nail gun going off again startles, even when I know it is coming. Then wait. I can't help but want to hear it one more time. The sweet hum. When we reach out, it will be as old friends. The hand to the loaded grip. More and more each day, the racing noise of the little engine. Now I am your nail gun. Shoot me. Shoot me at everything. Pull my trigger with your finger. It feels so good to shoot. This is the last one. Michael Alves is on deck. Don't be confused. This is not love. Sometimes you just crave somebody who can spit you back parts of you like busted teeth. Thanks.
Hello? Can I fix this? Okay, that's a little better. My first chapbook was published yesterday, and yeah, under Meat for Tea Press. And we're selling copies over there in the white box, in case you like my poetry. So I'll be reading a few pieces from that work. And still I shiver at the passing mention of your name. What time has passed between us, I cannot even say, but I cannot deny this state of passion which you seem to dominate. Within your sight, I know no means nor force of will could quell my pulse. My lips run dry, my fingers tremble, mine succumbs. To webs of paths and patterns bound in branches of old neurons twisted into trees of memories. Your gentle touch, or your soft hair against my chest. Your enigmatic smile, or the confession of your blush. Though no reverie could mend a broken trust, a disposition soured by that acrid powder, you adored, it seems, much more than me. Thank you. That one was about an ex addicted to cocaine, if that went over anybody's heads. I know, it was pretty. This one is titled Daydreams Tasting of Norepinephrine. And daydreams tasting of norepinephrine, behavioral pushes of mesolimbic dopamine, the sensation of serotonin like a warm hand on my chest. Perceptive anomalies, aesthetic proportions of a phidias muse. A voice tinkling like crystalline oxytocin shattered over my ears. Exhaustive in subtlety, beautiful in simplicity, a note played with a timbre all its own. All amusing in articulation, biochemical manipulations for genetic preservation, as influential even in intellectualization as pathos to logos. A formula of nature to the individual irrational, yet appreciable. Thank you. And I have a couple more. Sorry, I was trying to remember the name of the next poet. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. This one is titled Squall. It's meant to make you a little uncomfortable. Scorched by the torch of mankind, as has anything that flew too low. Singed wings stamped by the DSM. Psychotic. I still fly, and should I be shot from the sky, I will fall and splatter, stain your shoes and sink into your carpets as some suggestive Rorschach shape, a testament to your neurosis. And should my path be forced into the sun, I will drag it back and smother man's torch with the true flames of life. Yet, should I reach the moon, I may carve my name amongst the rest, but I will never cease to scream. Thank you. One more? Where's Elizabeth? Oh, okay, so two more. Okay, one more, and the next two? Okay, cool. All right, this one is titled A Radiance. A radiance illumined me through clouds of misty dopamine and lows recorded in their rows, a testament to red reprieves. She seems to me a figure swathed in fathomless disparity, a smile playing across her lips with not a wisp of wistfulness. Whilst I can see, behind the flutter of a muse's drowsy eye, a bramble bed beneath her head, adrift a river slipping by Elysium, its waters intimate with her and I. Okay, on deck, Khalees Smith? Yes? Okay. All right, one more. I've basically read this whole thing. Now you guys have no motivation to buy it. I've read like half of them, actually, so. Okay, here's an old one. Lighthearted, and not for artery obstruction. Sweetness unrelated to sucrose, a slight rush of dopamine, a lingering neural web of oxytocin, a connection, a thin thread from eye to eye. Pull taut at certain unavoidable circumstance. An odd itch, the adrenal release, like fingertips pushing from the inside out for others, constricting. The line loosens, the moment faded, or it snaps with the corporeal residue of recoil, such as to leave both little doubt of the circumstance. And yet, all moments of the nature meld, memory banks dropping perceptive details in favor of general emotion, leaving only clouds of memories, fond and misty in the light of conscious analyzation. Classroom days of furtive looks and fervid letters. Thank you. This is on sale, $10.
Oh, hi. This is called Gabriel. Let me tell you about my brother. His trouble is time. 2 years, 2 days too late, and constantly in wait. Stands by gospels of music mellow in his bones by 10, a growing house of introversion, innate progressions. Although he dwarfs his instrument, moves with methodic attitude, we are each other's common ground, a foundation, nouns losing grip of meaning and yet fused to verbs, constantly confused as we are by each other. In fact, my brother uses all that he is to stay still while I thrive on change. Until I left, sitting was a pastime, thumbs at attention. Blind skill now how he attacks the bass, and me sometimes. Subtle ways to make me pay attention. Predicting my quickened paces meant to leave him behind. Oh, that's gonna get real weird. Ethnicosity. I wanted to be the melting pot, always. Mutable skin, almond eyes, multilingual, an equation erring on balance. I belonged on the coast, born with a loophole and labeled for sale. Instead, everything I am is clay, brown, brown, and dry. I kind of remember how to do this. This one's called Heirlooms. Anger is a gift passed down through generations. She shoots knives and glances, breasts smoldering with rage, targeting whatever is in range, and erupts in curses. Damn it, damn you two have leapt at this cage of words, not describing what she wants to say, because nothing does say what she wants to say to you, to moments past. She vomits threats like lava, silence the ocean she creates islands upon. And we, her reverent children, wary of her fury, used to send flowers and love, prayers that the words would stop, the lava would cool in pauses of breath, that the view would change from fire mountain to ocean and sky and silence. Instead, we too learned to boil clips and phrases, to hurl red-hot language forged by tongues too young to understand, like grenades into unwitting silence. We learned to erupt rage and words as one, and how to create islands of people alone and warm with fury. I told Elizabeth I was working on a horror poem, and I probably shouldn't have said that. This is what I came up with. Where are they, she says, my children, her eyes glistening in wait, unaware of the dripping crimson on her palms and the still fingers on the floor. Lauren Singer is on deck? Yeah. Sweet. We'll do the longer one, or at least part of the longer one instead, so. There's more coming. There just wasn't any others that were ready. Thanks. They're not making this any less awkward. This one doesn't have a title, and it's part of a much longer series, but we'll do the first part. Or you reinvent the cliches to cover the landscape. Trees and teeth, bared and broken, bottled on sidewalks and porches under where the subtlety was taken out. Your new neighbors who bought your grandmother's house cheap will renovate you a few blocks down where you're less inconvenient. At school in a few weeks, they'll read you a list of the dead and request silence. You'll give it. Memories will suffocate the room to the point of explosion. Fists will erupt from molehills and mourning. You'll try not to walk home alone. Your mother will only remember the moments when choosing was an option, when street corners weren't tattooed prisons intuited by the turf. She'll want you to go outside. She'll want you to be different from Mrs. Johnson's son, cut courtside with an errant confrontation, coded sharp in circumstance. She'll think in 40-year-old doctrine of what armor is made of. You know better. You will know the sounds to drop by. You will wash off the blood and hope it is never yours.
Thank you for having me. Today I wake up and I decide it is my special day. I will give myself a reward even though I just got dumped and I really don't have a job and I don't have much money left and I need to buy new pants. I decide none of this matters. I deserve a treat. I go to the grocery store because I should make myself a delicious dinner. For no good reason, I buy an eggplant, and I never buy eggplant. I think this is the day that I started buying eggplants, and I will become a better, healthier person, and I will wear deep purples and brush my teeth twice a day, no matter what, even if I'm already in bed and I'm drunk and about to have sex. I will always brush my teeth before bed from now on because only responsible people buy eggplants. By mid-morning, the eggplant is more symbolic than it was in the grocery store. I bump into a former coworker who already thinks I'm weird. I say, "Would you like to meet my eggplant? He is very friendly." She looks at me and smiles weakly as though to say, "Isn't it a shame I'm still so perky and hot and have a job and this poor girl is wearing 2 different socks and talking to an eggplant?" I smile very widely at her, baring all of my teeth for about 30 seconds before she gets uncomfortable and walks away. I bike home with my eggplant, and I'm thinking about all the things I might make for dinner tonight, and I begin to feel great again. I'm going to cook myself a fabulous meal and get dressed up and put on liquid eyeliner. Tonight, I am also going to learn how to apply liquid eyeliner. I buy some wine at the liquor store and bike home with my eggplant in the basket and whistle about feeling good and not feeling like a failure, even though I've kind of been feeling like a failure lately. Because I'm thinking that people who whistle are happy, and people with eggplants are responsible, and people on bikes are healthy, and I am therefore a happy, responsible, healthy person. Then I see my most recent lover in front of my apartment building, and I'm like, oh shit, there he is, coming back to be in love with me again. And I'll be like, oh, whatever, future ex-husband, I don't need you, I'm so over you, and you were the worst lay ever. But wait, what is he doing? That's not even my apartment. That's so weird because my friend lives there. He doesn't even know her. Oh my God, did they just make out? What is he doing? I wonder if he knows that's not me. So should I go inside or should I just stand here behind the shrub in front of my apartment, holding my eggplant, wearing my helmet? I go inside and watch them through the window for about a minute and a half before they go into her apartment and close the door. So I sit on my stairs and blubber for a little while, holding my eggplant, wearing my helmet in front of the window with the door open, until the mailman comes and is all like, "Are you okay, crying girl, wearing a helmet, embracing an eggplant?" And I'm like, "No, mailman, this has been the worst day ever." He sympathizes, hands me a stack of mail, and says, "Cheer up, you have an eggplant." And it's like he knows what that means. I get up and walk inside. I think, all right, kiddo, this is it. You're going to make some eggplant, and you're not going to care how far his tongue is down her throat, even if he's tickling her uvula as we speak. Nope, not you. You've got eggplant to think about, and this is your night. And then I think that I hope both of them get dysentery, but then I decide to unthink that part because the new me doesn't think bad thoughts about people, even if they are bad lays or have unseemly adult acne. I go to the kitchen and plop my eggplant on the table and take out all of my supplies. A better person would say, look at all my options, but I'm not that savvy. I suddenly realize that I have no idea what to do with my eggplant. I get my knife and lay the eggplant, on its side, and I'm about to go through with it, but then it was like I was cutting up the only thing about my life that made any sense. And it seems really illogical all of a sudden to be so close to my eggplant with a knife when it made me so happy all day. So I decide instead to order some eggplant pizza and to watch a movie with my eggplant and a 6-pack until I get tired and feel ready for bed. But just to be safe before I turn in for the night, I decide to draw some grotesque images of my most recent lover's small penis and stick them all over his windshield with duct tape and go to bed feeling good about my life. And then I get out of bed and brush my teeth and then get back into bed, my eggplant keeping watch at the nightstand. Thanks. I'm going to read one more. On deck is Tamara Frick, and thank you for having me. This is called Baby Fever. At age 9, in what I can only assume was a premeditated outcry of jealous resolve geared towards any one of the cute little cousins, neighbors, or peripheral appreciation of tiny fingers and toes in my comfort zone, I scrawled with gumption in my Hello Kitty diary, complete with kitty-shaped lock, the following phrase: I hate babies. Looking at the page, it is almost a certainty that the number 2 pencil with which I wrote had to be sharpened and resharpened for the appropriate level of determination to be conveyed through this scrawl. Below this defiant declaration in baby hatred, I have listed a number of causes. 1, babies smell. 2, babies poop everywhere, everywhere. 3, diapers don't stop the smell. 4, babies don't listen to the Fugees. 5, babies don't have teeth. 6, babies can't eat candy. 7, babies don't share. 8, they are loud because they're always crying. 9, babies look like old people but can't even talk. 10, dogs are better. As a grown woman, I can look at this list and keenly state that I still wholeheartedly agree with this itemized declaration of truth and ill will towards babies, those noxious crying machines, all evil, all wrinkle and passage for sticky goo, all drool and shrill and no notion of their terrorism, robotic little vessels for abhorrent fumes and bodily discharge, puke machines with shriveled faces, all pinchy-toed, crab-handed stapler claws, steal your glasses and your keys and your phone and call it cute, dry heave tit milk on your lap and name it coochie coo, can't be trained, can't be coddled, wants your wallet just to dump out all your change, can't even crap themselves alone, must cling to everything, must respond with awe, even when disgusted, must lie to parents and claim it beautiful, cannot say ew, cannot let stinky pants accrue, must take care, must give name, must grow into bigger human with ill will of its own, with which it will resent you for the flaws that invested in the life it took to make it, must provide for it, must clothe it, must feed it with your own body until swollen bellied tired it flops over on its sides and coos with little baby breath, a sleepy sigh, and closes eyes for mere minutes before awake again, screaming persistent that it needs you for baser sustenance, and shut up, baby, make your own lunch. But babies don't make lunch. And we all know that this is just a protective shell of force because all I ever think about 20 years after my decry against them is how much I want a baby. Why have you betrayed me, body? Why is it that every time I see a filthy baby cling to the swollen nipple of its mother, my own boobs start twitching in this sad little empty way, like, please make me to fill a tiny being of my genitals' creation. Every solid ounce of logic knows that this is gross, but something in my stupid womb will not shut up. I did not ask for this. On every level, I know how much I will fuck up my baby, know that I will become too needy, have to be the most loved parent, must have the prettiest bouncy baby holder, must know all the baby rules and become a type A baby monster. I know that my baby will grow older, more unruly, learn to walk and walk away from me, will become a baby child and then a child tween and then become another replica of me. And I don't want my meta baby writing declarations of angst about my future grandchildren in their little plastic journals. I know the risks, I know what happens, but I can't help it. I want the baby mess. I want the whole disgusting lot of it. I blame my body failing me to harvest puppies instead of humans, succumbing to this bio need, this procreative question mark that doesn't need to breed. But I need another weirdo and I want another me. Until then, I'll be judging your baby on my Facebook feed.
That was amazing. Yeah. That was amazing. I'm a little nervous about following that. Okay. All right. My name's Tamara Fricky. I have a chapbook that was published in December of 2014. It's available on Amazon.com. I'm going to read you a couple of pieces from the book. I'm going to read you a couple of new pieces that'll be coming out later this fall in my next chapbook. Oh, and please remember to shut the fuck up. Is that better? Yeah. Excellent. All right. Pieces of me. Threaded through these words are little wisps of tooth and nail that clawed sound and syllable from the ether and arranged them just so, just for you. Savor them as you would a fine wine. Let the tannins of their ink swirl around and arouse sight and sounds lost long ago to tidal change. And although you see a mirror's reflection, remember it's a window too. That's the breath, my breath you feel on your skin, sharing secrets should you choose to listen. We're a little past it, but this one's called St. Patrick's Day. We're good beer drinkers, right? Excellent. What better night than now to surrender to Bukowski and Cohen, to brush a spider from my chest, a sight they'd both appreciate, into the one last drink I don't need and shouldn't have, while meditating on the desires to smash or the lack of ones to kill. To kill a spider with a carbonated pop while reading that spiders are akin to mystics, and how both sometimes need a root vegetable to the side of the head to stop poison passing beyond necrotic perimeters, seems at best a perversion of natural order. I found the wells of battered and brooding love in dingy bars, looking to burn and punch away the anger, like an old worn-out camera that refuses to focus, long before I could ingest their shit-smeared prose. But these weak female bones make it all the more obscene. The cussing, the getting drunk, the desperation to pare away the exhaustion, and the lust. Oh God, the lust. It's all just indecent and sadistic when it's encased in a skirt and heels, because you can't survive the gutter if you can't piss standing up. Bile bites at the throat as the pages turn and the one last drink melts into two more. It's St. Pat's after all, and who am I to let Bukowski down? If only there was someone to screw, could this moment be more complete? I think of setting down my books and stumbling off to find some piece of meat at the local, someone to croon some stolen Leonard lick to, who'll help me smear the night with blood, booze, and sweat. But that last drink filled me full, and the thought of breaking another poor sap's spine in the aftermath is just enough to break me. Instead, tomorrow will come alone, strung across spiderweb girders, pieced together with coffee and ibuprofen, and the deep-seated need to find a sweet potato and a priest. Burn out this rooted fear. 1. Burn out this rooted fear. Tear it leaf from limb. It has taken over too much of the garden, starving reflection and hope out of the beds. Bravado only masks the kudzu terror of imminent failure. Runners weave their way through every ounce of earth until the dirt weeps like clotted cream. Let me repeat, until the dirt weeps like clotted cream. 2. A life stuck in permafrost, left on hellish hold, music distorting through the speakers, waiting for something to thaw the ice, something to set hair and heart ablaze. Give me anything except cold-brewed disappointment to ease rhyme's ache. Relentless repetition carves tunnels through soft tissue meant to shoulder worldly burdens. Discord's clamor deafens and turns damaged muscle to stone. 3. There is too much bullshit and not enough compost to nourish a neglected psyche. Proper propagation requires a deft hand and sharp shears. Take my hand instead, and let me feel you, without a word, touching me, touching the world. Thanks. Faulty logic. The Jehovah's Witnesses are at it again, leaving pamphlets of salvation on the door, and insomnia has set in. Post hoc ergo propter hoc, the watchtower thus bears the burden of aching eyes and the sense of ill ease that malingers in the dead of night. But just as toasters and birth control hold no true causation, biblical threats mean nothing to an atheist's sleepless nights. Correlation, statistically speaking, is all there is to hang your hat on when 3 a.m. refutes pillow and dreams. Faulty logic and ginger tea do nothing to return a night's solve, and the leaflet is tossed out with the tea bag. Acceptance now is the only solution. Pleasures of damnation. The way fucker rolls off the tongue and lingers in the air between us like rotted asparagus makes your horrified scowl a parody of earnest disgust. I laugh because it's free, and when your shantytown life is razor-edged, empty pockets turn everything into a joke. At least for those interested in survival. Skulking, you retreat inward. I charge full tilt at the cheap scotch, indifferent to its similarity to paint thinner. An overflowing ashtray is time's only marker as the afternoon slouches in terse silence towards the door. Idiot, you finally retort. In thankful repose, I nod my agreement, light another cigarette, and exhale blue-smoked pleasure. Sipping on damnation, I lick my lips and ask for more. Compost. Decay and shit, finely blended and packaged prettily, sells hefty sums under the name of organic plant food. And yes, decay and shit really does make the fruit sweeter, the sex pop flowers pop, the veggies flush with vitamins. Now, not any old decay and shit will do, though, so don't go throwing old files fat with expired corporate importance, retired cubicle bits, or dead electronics in with the rhododendrons and expect a bloom-laden spring. Decay and shit must be of the finest quality for a garden to flourish. Teeming with microbes, the sweats of seasons past, minced stalk of hope fuse with barnyard waste, rank with last year's perfume, and become fodder for the next generation. On deck next is Tara Jean Bernier, pardon my pronunciation. And this is my final piece, and it's called Hope. These are dismal times. The rent is late, bills go unpaid, and bleakness swaddles apathy like a newborn and nurses an overwhelming fear. Tenderness, so easily forgotten, gets lost in the empty refrigerator or tossed out with the spoiled milk. It's easy to look at the night wrong and see only darkness. This is not to say that summer's honeysuckle kisses will alleviate hunger, nor will sultry ocean waves fill the bank account. Instead, let these moments imply that there's more to night's darkness than a hole in the world, and that maybe light's got a shot at winning. Thank you very much.
I'm taking my children to a Boston Red Sox game by myself because, one, I enjoy doing things that are incredibly overwhelming, and two, because I made a choice to parent half the time solo. And damn it, baseball is important, and Fenway Park is a church, so I'm taking my children to a baseball game alone. I've kept this a secret for 3 weeks. When Kid 2 figures this out, after a series of ridiculously obvious hints, their eagerness melts all my anxiety. That is, until I'm white-knuckling it down the Mass Pike as the clouds give over all their water to our journey. I am singing, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Not just because I am so close to turning around, but because rain has deemed my windshield wipers inadequate, and now this is swimming by driving. By the time I have delivered us safely to the furthest from Boston tea stop, my hands ache from an unrelenting grasp on the wheel. I issue instructions to the children to not let go of my hand. No, seriously, Keegan J, do not let go of my hand. I narrate this train ride to my boys as this is the first trip they will remember to Boston. This was the stop where Mommy got off for work every day 13 years ago. Here is where Daddy's first job was after college. Yes, Kai James, Mommy knew Daddy then. And as we make our way up from the subway onto the streets filled with throngs of people gathering for game time, the payoff I've been waiting for is delivered. Their eyes are Christmas morning big. They are chatting civilly to each other in that bright sibling language that I miss when they are pummeling each other on the daily. The word city passes between them like a cherished marble. These my live-in-the-country boys where the tallest building in 15 miles is no higher than the water tower in their father's backyard. When we make it through the gates of Fenway to our seats, when my boys see the field for the first time with the sun melting over the green monster through the fading storm clouds, it won't even matter that the Sox pull off a win. I mean, they did. We had just moved to seats behind home plate, and Poppy started this whole 6-inning rally with something miraculous. I mean, if I even believed in miracles anymore. See, it will only matter that I never believed that I could do this on my own, or that I would never be capable to bring them anywhere by myself. But hours later, as I carry each of them up the stairs to my tiny apartment, tuck them into their beds at almost 2 a.m., I pause. Realize they aren't so old, realize they still look like babies when they sleep, so it's then that I let go the sobs, the one I've choked back all day, sobs that once meant I'll never be able to do this on my own, but now mean I am doing this well, alone. Thank you. I'm Tara Jean Bernier. I run the open mic and the slam at Northampton Poetry. We're every Tuesday. If you like what's happening here, you should join us on Tuesdays as well. And much thanks for Elizabeth for having me here this evening. Joseph Boisvert is on deck, and I'll do one more poem. I didn't know it would feel like this. That is, selling my engagement ring. I needed the money, like making it to the bank today minutes before they closed so my rent check wouldn't bounce, needed the money. It's just I figured it's been 2 years since I moved out, and sure, the paperwork isn't final, but I've been single-ish for ages now. And I always sort of resented the ring, too big for me, not the conflict-free kind I asked for or the second-hand antique. But it sparkled in the sun, and people were known to ooh and ah, made me put my uncomfortable away. When I finally decided I didn't need to mine the stones from their setting and create some new ring of glinty freedom, when I decided to move the juju along, I didn't know the day I collected the money, it would be from the woman who sold my ex the ring, who helped us fuss over our wedding bands we passed around at the ceremony and asked everyone to put their good thoughts and love into. She said, "I'm so sorry, Tara." So good at customer service, she remembers my name 11 years later. And I've brushed off such sorries with, no, really, I'm okay. But today, even with the money almost in my pocket, the insurance against bounced checks, nothing is okay. So as she signed the check and looked away, I slipped it on one more time. Felt the weight of 9 years of marriage, 3 years of dating, and so many promises of love and forever for just one more time. Then slipped it off as she handed me nearly 2 weeks' pay. Then I fumbled my sunglasses on to hide those obvious tears and left that sales floor of love. I didn't know it would feel like this. What I mean is 1.7 carats have always carried a promise too heavy for these hands. Thank you. Please welcome me in welcoming Joseph Boisvert to the mic.
Oh, penultimate. Yeah. Hi, thanks for having me. I'm the penultimate reader. Next is Izzy Catane, our featured reader for tonight. So, that's great. Thanks for everybody that read so far. All right, just a couple of poems. Just a couple of poems. A creaky ring. The beating of a small bell sounds. The dirt in the window box holds its breath with me. In the iridescent blue of the ozone-streaked sky, she's gotten her wings. I peel back the plate of a scarab's epoxy carapace. I locate the circuit breakers and switch off the ratcheting bell. Around your body, cicadas held a brief, quiet vigil and then tore you into pieces and carted you away like tiny singing tractors. A Geiger counter metronome hovered above, keeping radioactive time. First, they took your electrons, orbital by expired orbital. Then they latched onto your protons and floated away on their lead balloons. Finally, they carted away the ominous neutrons into the dark trees beyond the city streets. The horizon begins crackling with the light emitted by the trees, whose branches are heavy with insects who rip apart their new neutrons like sacred grapes. The sound crescendos. It seems like a slow start to an explosion. This is a poem about an awkward horse. Now, like an obstacle, we had history standing like a praying horse in all our streets. Your vibrations, your quivering, spoke about illness and about the silence of repetition. We had a new kind of freedom for which you traded a type of courage. Rooms smoldered in the naked heat. The rooms were full of school desks that were filled with flashcards of plane crashes and preventable diseases. I was always trying to learn how to be afraid. some other, not far from the sun, living here, sky forgotten, now you are of another kind. Your limbs grew fewer joints, and your simple shoes grayed under the ashes of who you came wrapped in. The cicadas were finally buried by the wind in their bird tombs. The wind blew like the center of a bell's tolling. It would have rent apart everything in the old street, but for your words still flying among them, rebuilding the animals that were being worn away, the plants starving under the sun's black eye. The wind became a million TV sets coming to life in homes all over the city. And then finally, I know, it's the end of the poem, like what does that mean? Okay, so this is my final poem. Thank you. The ultimate penultimate poem. Thank you, everybody. The sparrows took off. In their fragile beaks, they each held a tether leading to your obsolete body. We hand it to them. This is a brave thing to do. Thank you.
What's going on? Where's Zico Tane? Haiku. Bury your war clubs, Indian war clubs, legs on tables, legs on chairs. Dark room, Lou Reed dead. Set on Lulu, I am the table, words to hang on to. Fine china, Ai Weiwei, marble, rebar, bicycle, backpack, duct tape, Twitter feed. Fashion police, Vivian Westwood, Bradley and Chelsea Manning, Alexander Wang. Opera is the new punk. Sold out, Fallout Shelter, opening night. Hiroshima shake, making it rain, paper cranes, good luck falling down. Wipeout, Quicksilver files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in U.S. Concrete poetry, hardcover, Tupac Shakur poetry, the rose that grew from concrete. Haiku. Architecture, brutalist. Architecture, brutalist. Brutalist. Holy cow. Mob in India kills Muslim man over rumors of cow slaughter. Search for John Cage. John Deere Gator X UV full front windshield quick connect roll cage clamps. Metacognition. Metacognition. Metacomet open, cobweb broken. Metacognition. 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 Metacomet open, cobweb broken. This one is called Glacier Freeze. If your body is a temple, then Gatorade gives way to ghettos. I mean, just look at the label. Beginning with water, the human body is 90% water at birth. To sucrose, to dextrose, to citric acid. To monopotassium phosphate, a soluble salt which is used as a fertilizer. A food additive and a fungicide. Is used as an additive in cigarettes. To salt, to sodium citrate. To natural flavors. Sounding innocent enough, but these mild sounding words are used by the food industry as an umbrella term for some pretty horrible stuff. Certain ingredients come from extreme animal abuse. To glycerol, ester of rosin, to modified food starch, and finally, ending with blue #1, AKA Brilliant Blue, FCF, FCF, FCF. A synthetic dye used to induce color. Flint. Governor Rick Snyder oversaw the switch of the water supply from Lake Huron to the polluted Flint River. The decision left untold numbers of residents poisoned by lead. They used bottled water for drinking, washing their hands, and preparing food. Parents shuttled children to pediatricians for blood tests. It's so bad now, it can only get better. The people of Flint have a special urgency about leaving. Prepared to sell everything they own to get out. Yet they are as good as trapped in this poison city. Homeowners have little hope that they'll be able to sell. Even if buyers were to be found, some are finding lenders unwilling to make loans. It's so bad now, it can only get better. Neighborhoods are pockmarked with abandoned homes. Front doors missing and windows smashed. Flint was a city on the precipice long before its water crisis. And now, since the drinking water flowing from their pipes is contaminated, they spend their days dealing with the consequences. It's so bad now, it can only get better. Warship! Worship! Warship! Worship! Warship! Worship! Warship! Worship! Warship! This one is John Varvatos. Yo, brother. How you doing, my man? Going to NYC on the 16th for 5-borough world premiere vid. Get at me if you want to roll with us and I'll get you in. We're coming back. To Lair on premiere tour on the 26th. It's a Sunday around 3-ish. Then we're doing that big demo for the Lair documentary at Boston Art Institute in June, you. Gotta roll with us to that, G. Get at me, homie. Hope all's smooth your way, dog. Tricycle bomb. Don't forget to write the poem on the tricycle bomb. Don't forget to write the poem on the 140 Tibetans who have set themselves on fire since 2009, protesting against increasingly repressive Chinese policies. Don't forget to write the poem on the Syrian gunman who broke the hands of an artist as a warning. Don't forget to write the poem on Detroit where Frida Kahlo miscarried. Don't forget to write the poem on last Sunday's obituary. Designer of sneaker brand Vans, expert on Navajo blankets, translator of Italian poetry, creator of synthetic skin. Don't forget to write the poem on the slurred voice of Michael Jackson, captured on audio, that helped sway Judge to give Dot jail. Don't forget to write the poem on the increase in hate crimes against the Sikh community since 9/11. Aggressors sometimes mistaking them for Muslims. Don't forget to write the poem on the correct pronunciation of Sikh. It's pronounced sick. Sick. experimental pavement marking. My driveway is connected to the Chateau Marmont, where the death grips produced work from within its walls. My driveway is connected to St. Cloud, Minnesota, Florida, a Benedictine abbot who gave his hood to a poor man as a ray of light emanated from his head. My driveway is connected to the Hutchinson River Parkway. My driveway is connected to the wampum factory. My driveway is not connected to London, where the skull of Winnipeg, the bear who inspired Winnie the Pooh, is now on display for the first time ever. My driveway, my driveway, my driveway, my driveway is connected. My driveway is connected to the Navajo Dental Center. Now permanently closed, according to Yelp. Reincarnation